On the late evening of 23rd December 2023, we reached Goa after a long drive from Hyderabad in our car. This was a plan made with Madhavi, Mitali's friend, Timni, my sister, who joined us from Calcutta, Mitali and myself sometime in the middle of December. On reaching Goa, we checked into our Airbnb in Candolim and decided to hit the streets, or rather beaches of Goa, ignoring the tiredness of a more than 12-hour drive. Here we are in the Candolim beach of Goa. How is it feeling? First night?
I love coming to I love the drive. I love this vibe also.
Okay. Any comments? Mitali?
Yo, Goa.
Goa is on. After finishing a hearty meal in one of the beach shacks of the Candolim beach, we casually strolled around the streets of Candolim. We were pleasantly surprised by the moderate crowd in the streets, as we were afraid that we would be greeted to a chock-a-block Goa during Christmas times. After spending some time, we returned back to our Airbnb to get some much needed rest before the adventures carried on in Goa for the next 3 days. Hello. Starting off. So it's almost 11 and we are off to the forts today. Today is Christmas Eve. This is our Airbnb place. The next day morning on 24th, we obviously woke up a little late. We ordered some sandwiches for breakfast and spent some more time trying to finalize on a driver for the car. The idea was that the mornings will be spent for touristy activities and the evenings were to be spent pub hopping. We needed a driver for the evening part, obviously. After finalizing a driver for around evening 5 pm, we decided it was time to hit the road. This is our first destination of our day, the Dil Chahta Hai famed Chapora Fort. Apparently the Amir Khan place, Dil Chahta Hai famed. It was already around 2 pm when we finished going around Chapora Fort. After this, we straight away headed to a nearby lunch place. This cafe called Square Sparrow was nice with some good Chinese and continental food options. The place was neatly decorated as well with some nice indoor gaming options and some good music going on. After finishing our lunch, we headed back to our Airbnb for meeting our driver, Rakesh ji, and then immediately left again to go to an amazing sundowner cafe in the Anjuna beach. The 2 hours spent in this cafe is something that all of us will remember for a long, long time. This was my fourth visit to Goa, but this was the first time I had been to a sundowner cafe, and it was totally worth it. After spending a couple of hours laid back watching a beautiful sunset unfold, it was time to head towards our next destination. We loved what we had seen last night in the Benaulim sea beach. We wanted some more, and hence our next destination, one of the most popular spots, Kalangut.
I don't have my network.
ये মনে হচ্ছে বেশি মনে হচ্ছে হিজ ফেস নট চলছে তাই না তোমাদেরটা কি হবে আমি জানি তোমরা কি লোক দেখলে এরকম করে দাঁড়িয়ে পড়বে
Kalangut was a disappointment. In fact, it was exactly what friends and family warned us against in a Christmas-filled Goa. An overcrowded Goa. We managed to get a place in one of the shacks of the beach and gulped down a drink or two and left soon after. Nonetheless, our next destination was one of the main pillars of our Goa plan. Right from the time the Goa plan was hatched, Mithali and Tinni were resolute in their intentions of attending the midnight mass on Christmas Day. As a result, we headed straight to the Saligao church, which was incidentally celebrating its 150 years and became part of the midnight mass and ringed in the Christmas there. We returned to our Airbnb last night at around 1:30 am after attending the Christmas celebrations in Saligao Church. The next day morning, we started off around 10 am towards South Goa. South Goa is around 50 to 60 kilometers from North Goa depending on where you are put up. So, it's a fairly long drive. We crossed some beautiful flyovers and the Mandavi River on the way. In the morning, we had not had our breakfast before starting. The plan was to find a place along the way. Somewhere in the middle of North and South Goa, we found out this cafe called Caravela Cafe near Santom Panjim. The place served fantastic coffee and a delicious breakfast spread. Gorging on breakfast, Christmas breakfast. We thoroughly enjoyed our meal in Caravela Cafe Goa and then headed further southwards of Goa to our destination called Cabo di Rama Fort.
Seized by the Portuguese there.
Cabo di Rama Fort is a decrepit structure with towers and rustic cannons that were claimed by the Portuguese monarchs. It was a well-equipped fort with 21 guns and several military barracks and a chapel. But when the Portuguese left India, the place was abandoned and later used as a government prison. Now, the fort is housed only by the ruins, but is a popular tourist place in South Goa. It is perched between the two famous beaches of South Goa, Cavilosim and Agonda. The fort overlooks the Arabian Sea on the western side, thus offering a striking contrast to the ruins of this ancient site and the beauty of nature. In fact, this fort is popular for presenting the visitors with the best sunset views.
Greenish, brownish, yellowish, algae color, algae pila color.
We managed to climb down the steep incline in the western part of the fort and spend some quality time on the rocky shores. At around 3 pm, we started off from Cabo de Rama. We wanted to experience one of the secluded beaches of South Goa. In the morning, the Caravella cafe owner was kind enough to suggest some secluded beaches on query. We weighed in on the distances of each of them from Cabo de Rama and eventually decided that our next destination would be Benaulim beach, around 30 kilometers from Cabo de Rama. It took us around an hour to drive down to Benaulim. On reaching there, we realized that we had hit the jackpot. This is exactly what we wanted: a white sand beach, sparsely populated with tourists, yet buzzing, and options are plenty for food and drinks. We had to go light on the drinks though, as we were driving ourselves. Benaulim beach surprisingly stands out from the other beaches of Goa. It is much quieter than them and yet has enough avenues that ensure you have a wonderful time.
एक साइड में एक आगे एक पीछे. That
हाँ,
will look
that's
stylish. हाँ, नहीं तो बच्चों की तरह लगेगा.
Yeah, this is
हो गया ना.
This is good for taking a bath also.
Yeah, that's why so many people are getting so.
What also makes Benaulim so special is that despite not being as touristy as the other beaches in Goa, it offers you opportunities to try out a variety of water sports. Away from the hustle and bustle of the city, the beach is a perfect place for beach bums to relax and regenerate their spirits. All in all, visit Benaulim beach to enjoy and relax much like we did. There's the moon. This side is the sun. It's a magnificent sunset. It's a wonderful beach. There's painting going on. There's the moon. There's Tinni sitting. That's our table. We ordered some food. It's a lovely, lovely evening. There's Rogers. Yeah, there's Rogers from where we have ordered food. Beautiful. Absolutely stunning. Benaulim was worth. It's time to say goodbye to Benaulim Sea Beach. While the sun has set, the moon is in full bloom now. The hue of the sky turned such that we did not feel like bidding goodbye to Benaulim. We lingered on for a little longer before our heart was full, and then eventually departed for our Airbnb where our driver was waiting for us. You know what that means. On the way, we stopped on a bakery to get some plum cakes for Christmas. We eventually returned to our Airbnb at around 8 pm, freshened up a bit, and then we were ready for some Christmas night clubbing in Romeo Lane. After returning late night from clubbing last night, the next morning was planned for some searches and old Goa escapades. We woke up in the morning, had our breakfast, and left for Old Goa in what was our last day in the city. On the way to Old Goa, we crossed the Mandavi River again. The number of fancy flyovers, that too, one above the other, while going from one part of Goa to another, always used to fascinate us. Our first destination of the day was Our Lady of the Immaculate Conception Church in Panjim. This was around 12 kilometers from our Airbnb. One of the reasons for visiting this particular church was because of the gang of Shah Rukh Khan fans our group housed. This was the church that was featured in the Shah Rukh Aishwarya starring Bollywood movie Josh from 2000. The Lady of the Immaculate Conception Church Panjim is also popularly called the Panjim Church. It was originally an ermida, that is a small church in an isolated spot, founded before 1541 for seamen who at the end of a long voyage from Lisbon made Panjim their first port of call before proceeding to the city of Goa. It was eventually replaced by a larger church in the 1600s as part of the Portuguese Goa's religious expansion. Our next destination was at a walkable distance from Panjim Church, a locality by the name of Fontainhas. This was again a Bollywood-inspired choice. Apparently, the shooting of the famous Bollywood number Hosanna was shot in these locales. An old Latin quarter in Panjim, this area was founded by Antonio Joao de Siqueira for the purpose of coconut plantation. But the pandemic of 1800s transformed this plantation into a residential area for Portuguese officers and rulers. Recognized as a heritage zone by UNESCO, this area includes narrow and picturesque winding streets like those found in many European cities, old villas and buildings with projecting balconies painted in the traditional tones of pale yellow, green, blue, and roofs made of red-colored tiles. As is usual with so much walking, we had started to crave food and it was time for lunch. We thought that the last lunch of the trip should be Goan cuisine and we promptly went over to Viva Panjim, located right in the heart of Fontainhas locality. On the menu was Goan rice, chicken vindaloo, rawa king fish fry and a bunch of local Goan desserts.
Begin. 1, 2, 3. Oh my god.
Oh,
This was
अजीब तरह से.
it's like chicken.
Now tell me, how's it? One, two, three ranking.
Serafina.
Serradura.
Serradura.
Then souffle. Then that one is named what? Bebinka. Babinka. Didn't
Serradura, this
Serradura souffle bebinka. You already have bebinka at one still?
Yeah.
Bebinka
No,
still
this is
one?
one.
Okay, souffle 1, bebinka 2, Serradura 3. After having a sumptuous meal on Viva Panjim, we drove down to the Donapaula jetty. This jetty in Goa is a small beach situated on the beautiful and popular sea stretch that spans 5 km from Panaji. The place is also known as Lover's Paradise. The beach has a jetty adjacent to it, which is famous for the view of the Arabian Sea that it offers. There are a lot of water sports activities that take place over here, and the jetty also houses a lot of hawkers for tourists to engage in street-style shopping. A large part of the Hindi movie Ek Duje Ke Liye was shot here, popularizing the place further. Our next stop was Basilica of Bom Jesus in Old Goa. The iconic church is a pilgrimage center and recognized by UNESCO as a World Heritage Site. The basilica is renowned for holding the mortal remains of Saint Francis Xavier. This Jesuit church is India's first minor basilica and is considered to be one of the best examples of Baroque architecture and Portuguese colonial architecture in India. The trip was coming to an end and we were all a little sad. For dinner, we decided to go over where it all started on day one. This beautifully decorated cafe near the Benaulim beach had caught our attention on the very first day. On finishing dinner, we decided that we would walk over to the Benaulim beach, which was a stone's throw away, and say one final goodbye to the Arabian Sea for the time being. Hello. So mostly the audio is not very good, but we'll just try to capture whatever we can. We have come near the Benaulim beach and the sea has come nearer, and we'll just quickly pan if there's anything. Okay, we'll start.
What?
30 seconds. Anything you want to talk for last 3 days, whatever you remember.
No, not that.
Anything. Anything, whatever you remember.
Okay.
Bolo.
It's just like we came now and then we were trying to leave again. The 3 days just flew past.
Yeah.
And I loved the beach. We had all the wholesome experience. The beaches, the clubs, the everything else.
And the best place that we went to?
Best place was the Benaulim beach.
Benaulim. Okay. Best place that you went to in the last 3 days?
Cabo di Rama.
Cabo di Rama. Best place that you went to in the last 3 days?
Benaulim. Benaulim.
Benaulim. And for me also, I think it's Benaulim. But thank you. Wave. Wave. Tinny wave. 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 Goodbye wave.